I'm bored. Let's nitpick the critical drinker. All right, so before we get into his video, let me set the scene for everybody so you understand what we're getting into. Leslie Headland from the Acolyte did an interview with The Wrap and talked in great detail about her thoughts around the toxicity in Star Wars. It exists. There's no point in debating that. No disputing it. It exists. Okay, she talks about it. She places blame squarely on the communities. A lot of these channels, Geeks and Gamers, Fandom Menace, this whole ecosystem, all the leeches to that ecosystem, all the small fish in that ecosystem, all of that led into a very toxic environment for a lot of people that truly enjoyed Star Wars. And she calls it out. She places the responsibility right where it belongs. These guys, the vast majority of them, have talked about fighting back against Star Wars, fighting back against Disney, doing everything they can to destroy Disney. And then you have someone come along and give them that credit and say, yes, you guys were responsible for doing this. All of a sudden, us, we're responsible? There's no way that we're responsible for doing any of this stuff. Go look around. They're all trying to claim that this is some accusation with no merit whatsoever. It's ridiculous. I'm not going to be gaslit. You guys shouldn't be gaslit about this. It's all out there. Critical Drinker here made a video. The video is titled, let me hover over this, "We Killed the Acolyte, Apparently." Now, I haven't watched this video yet, so I don't know if he's also going to do the same thing, but that's the situation we're in right now. That's where we are in this space. He made the video earlier today. I'm going to go ahead and watch it. We're going to talk about it, maybe debunk it, maybe call him out on some dumb shit. I don't know. We'll see. Let's go ahead and get into this.
Life really does come at you fast, and never more so than when you're responsible for blowing $250 million on the most wildly and hilariously disliked Star Wars project since the holiday special.
This is inflammatory. There's no proof of this. He's not going to provide any proof of this. He's not going to show any numbers, charts, graphics, whatever. He's going to pretend like nobody complained about Solo, nobody complained about Book of Boba Fett, nobody's complained about the 2008 Clone Wars, nobody complained about the Phantom Menace, nobody complained about Rise of Skywalker. He's just going to pretend the Acolyte is the worst, with no proof whatsoever. It's all subjective. But anyway, let's continue.
A show so monumentally unpopular that Lucasfilm were forced to take the unprecedented step of announcing its actual cancellation instead of their usual tactic of just never talking about it again and hope.
Well, I wonder if that's because it is as bad as you say it is, or because there is some truth to this discourse that's going on. I want to talk a little bit as we go through this, some nuances of things that she said. I don't know if he's actually going to provide quotes here. He might. Sometimes they do. I don't know. We'll see if he gets to it.
And that everyone forgets about it. And for some people, that kind of god-tier failure would probably be a good opportunity for self-reflection, a chance to reconsider the creative decisions that were made, and maybe even learn a bit of humility in the...
Except Leslie Headland isn't doing any other Star Wars projects that I know of. Let me double check on this. All right, no, I just double checked. Leslie is not attached to any other projects. So her interview where she talks about her thoughts on this have nothing to do with Lucas or Disney or anybody at Star Wars learning any lessons. It was an interview specifically with Leslie and her thoughts on what was going on over the course of her time at Disney when the show was airing.
Process. Not so with the Acolyte showrunner Leslie Headland, who recently emerged from whatever pit of obscurity she's been hiding in for the past year or so to do a puff-piece interview with The Wrap, where...
So you just admitted that she's not been doing anything. So why would she have any humility or learn any lessons about a Star Wars project when she's not doing anything related to Star Wars? What kind of sense does that make? It makes no sense whatsoever.
She proceeded to duck all responsibility for the disaster and shift the blame to the latest convenient scapegoat for Hollywood's failures: content creators.
Right. So you're feeling a certain kind of way. You're feeling a certain kind of way about it because now you have people at the top ends of Hollywood, people making shows, making movies, right, who are willing to start calling you out. They're going to start saying, hey, these guys that claim they're changing culture, these guys that say they're fighting for what other people believe in, these guys that say they're doing all these things, they are responsible. And then y'all are sitting over here going, what, us? We're responsible? We're the ones that did this? That's crazy, fam. That's crazy. How could we be responsible? We only make 10,000 videos about Kathleen Kennedy. We only make 10,000 videos about Rachel Zegler. We make 1 million videos about Brie Larson. But how are we responsible for any of this? You guys make more content than there is content to consume. There's more hours of time on YouTube of you complaining about the Acolyte than there is actual hours of time of the Acolyte. So I don't see how you can dispute that what you're doing has no impact on any of this. You either take credit or you're irrelevant. Which is it? Are you irrelevant? Is that what you're saying? That you had nothing to do with this? That the whatever it is that's wrong with the show is the only factor, and that you guys are just screaming into a void? Is that where we are? It's just screaming into the void. You provide nothing. I'm sure that all the people who are coming into your chats, all the people who are there with you, supporting you, buying your merch and stuff, I'm sure they would love to know that all of the stuff they're doing isn't having any effect on this whatsoever. No issue. You hear that, guys? Everything you're doing means nothing. You have nothing to do with this. You're screaming about it. You're complaining about it. All of that stuff has nothing to do with any of the issues that are going on at Disney right now. All of you guys are just innocent bystanders who have no effect on culture whatsoever. That's crazy.
Right.
That's right, us YouTubers are the reason we never got season 2 of The Acolyte. You're welcome, world.
Yes, yes.
But for the sake of argument, and because I could use a good laugh today, let's take a look at Leslie's totally unbiased and reasonable view on the thing. Quote, "The content that's being put out by the streamers or the studios is being snatched up by these other creators, and so commentaries, synopses, live videos, all of the ways that these creators make money through viewer-based ad revenues and their Patreons, there's a lot of money to be made. What can I say? Welcome to the internet, Leslie."
So you're not disputing it. You're not disputing. I'm happy to hear that, because it is. You guys are making a ton of money off of outrage content over a lot of these movies and TV shows. So at least you're admitting it. There's a little bit of credit. You guys say I don't give credit. I'm giving credit here. You're admitting it, that you're making a bunch of money off of it. Also, there are people, I know, like Melanie Mack made several videos where she's looking at clips from the show, 10, 15, 20-minute videos, raking out that ad revenue off of a clip. She's not even watching the show, but she's insinuating that this is why the show is so bad. These are the problems with the show, off of literally a minute clip from an episode. So what Leslie is saying here is that there's a disingenuous nature to the way that money is being made around the show. That's the reality of it. And it's replacing actual engagement with art, actual engagement with media. It's replacing all of that with you guys, with this parasocial relationship that you have with the viewers of your content. That's what's happening.
Not sure if you're familiar with it, but it's this crazy place where people offer up their opinions about things, especially things they're passionate about, like, oh, I don't know, Star Wars. And other people are free to agree or disagree with those opinions. Sometimes those opinions can be positive, with shows like Andor, The Mandalorian, or even Skeleton Crew. Other times they can be negative, like with Ahsoka, Boba Fett, Obi-Wan Kenobi, or The Acolyte.
So the issue I have there is that The Mandalorian? Is revisionist history on that show? I remember the last couple seasons of Mandalorian were absolutely trashed by this community. Y'all barely talked about Andor. It was like a fart. Andor was like a fucking fart. Barely talked about Andor. So I don't know what you're saying here. Like you make it seem like you guys are equal. It's an equal balance of like, here's a bunch of stuff we love. Here's a bunch of stuff we want to complain about. It is not equal. Those two things are not equal to each other. There's an out of balance nature to the force when it comes to the content that come out from you guys. So let's not pretend here that you guys are, we're in the middle. We're giving some sort of like a completely unbiased criticism while raking in tons of money, hands over fist money from ad revenue and all of these different things we're doing. But somehow we're telling the truth. We're speaking what's on our mind. Nobody buys that. We're not stupid. We're not stupid. Some people that watch you might buy that. The idiots that follow you might buy that. But we all know, we know different. Come on, let's be real.
It just so happens that you made a show the vast majority of people didn't like, and so the vast majority of the coverage on it was negative. Unlike the legacy media outlets, such as the one you're talking to right now, who only get that sweet access to cast and crew interviews, advanced screenings and studio tours, provided they play ball and give the most positive reviews possible.
Right, so let me frame this for you guys. Critical Drinker is passing the buck off to legacy media because they are incentivized to do things that would give them some sort of monetary gain. Follow me on this. So we're not supposed to listen to legacy media when they talk about how good something is because they are completely tarnished because they receive gifts and exchanges of things and access and all of these things for giving good reviews. But we're totally supposed to believe that someone like Critical Drinker and Nerdrotic, who are receiving tons of money, tons of merch sales, tons of social media outreach, that somehow they're the ones we're supposed to be listening to because they're totally not biased or driven by anything else other than the truth. But these guys over here, legacy media, they're doing it for access. You see what I'm saying? They're trying to, it's all distraction. It's like, look over there while we're doing this stuff over here. We're not falling for it, man. We're not falling for it.
I bet you're totally fine with those, aren't you? And by the way, have at it. Get your coin 100%. But it revealed to me that there's a misunderstanding between the studios and that engagement. They think of it as fandom, and in ways it is, but studios use it almost like this focus group. It is a focus group. In fact, it's arguably the best and most comprehensive focus group a studio could ask for.
Okay, so here we are. You're taking responsibility. Earlier in this video, this fucking numbskull wanted to make it seem like that there was no responsibility placed on the communities because the show was a bad show. But here he is admitting that what she's saying about the studios using these dumb fuck anti-fandom communities, that they're using them as focus groups to change the content, which means shows like this or shows that they don't like would get canceled and wouldn't get made. So are you responsible or are you not responsible? Pick one of those things and go with it. You're talking out of both sides of your lying ass mouth. And it's really frustrating because all of the brain dead people in your comments are not even going to notice it because they are so used to consuming your media and not questioning anything that you say that we've reached a point where she's saying that the studios are listening to this brain rot, all these people that are running around just repeating the same stuff that y'all are saying. I see it in my comments. I see it on all the low-level and mid-level chud channels that are repeating the same thing you're saying. There is no original thought. There's no original concepts. There's no original dialogue. There's no original conversation happening. It is literally them coming to a handful of channels and then repeating everything those channels are saying in various places, whether it be Reddit, 4chan, Facebook, TikTok, Twitter, Instagram. It's the same 5 or 6 talking points we hear over and over and over again. It's not organic. It's not an organic thing. This is literally orchestrated, and it's a narrative that they have built. So once again, either you are the focus group and you are responsible for these things, or you're not. So is she telling the truth or is she lying? Which, by the way, oddly enough, you completely jumped over the part where she said, get your coin 100%. You skipped over that because you had already spent a bunch of time disparaging her about accusing you of making money, which she literally says in the next quote that you use, that go ahead and make your money. It's crazy how that works. It's fucking crazy.
Not only does it include literally thousands of creators willing to invest a great deal of time and effort breaking down the strengths and weaknesses of a particular project, often in autistic levels of detail, but each one of those videos also comes with thousands, if not tens of thousands of comments, either agreeing or disagreeing with the sentiments
We should never, look, I'm going to put this out there. If you are someone that runs a business, any kind of business, I don't care what fucking business it is, never ever look at the comments like some sort of gauge of what real people think. We've already seen it on Twitter. We've already seen there's bots out there. It is a massive problem. Dead internet theory. Look it up. There's massive amounts of bots out there who are just ready to repeat and repost and drop fake ass comments all day long in these comment section. I know, I go through my comment section and I have to weed out the people that are really there to chat with me and all the dumb fucks that are just repeating stuff. All the idiots, all the brain dead, basement dwelling, nipple sucking idiots out there who do nothing but drool out of their fucking mouth all day, or someone running a bunch of different pages that just repeating the same fucking shit these guys are saying. If you run a business, I implore you, do not listen to these people. Half of them aren't even real. Probably more than half at this point.
Breast and elaborating on particular points and details. And the best part? It's all completely free, and it's made by people with an actual emotional investment in the thing, i.e. the audience. Not disinterested normies you pulled off the street for a quick test screening, or...
How do you equate that? Please show me the proof of that. Where's the proof? You're claiming these things, but there is no evidence. I cannot tell you guys how fucking annoying it is to have to come here day after day and watch these fucking awful scumbag videos where they just make claim after claim after claim with no fucking evidence. And I blame Jeremy from Geeks and Gamers. There's a clip of him. I'll have to show it on one of my live streams. There's a clip of him where he explains that the reason why videos do so well for these guys is it's all brain dead shit with no facts. No facts, no information, no nothing. He talked about the fact that you don't even have to provide anything because so many of you out there are ready to just consume whatever it is these fuckers are shoving down your throats. Whatever shit they want to shove down your throat, you're ready to consume it. You don't care about the truth. You don't care about information. You don't care about facts. You don't care about charts, graphs, studies. You don't care about any of that. You have a bias and you want that bias confirmed. Or you're somebody who's kind of lost. You're a fan out there on your own. You stumble in this group. You become a part of the group. And then all of a sudden you feel like you have to adhere to what the group is doing and you get stuck in it. It's a cycle. I've seen it so many times. I hear from people all the time that break out of the cycle. They get away from this and they realize this shit ain't it. What these guys are feeding you it isn't it. And I want to remind you, if you are part of this community and you believe that you're doing something by being here, Nerdrotic has already stated at the beginning that he's not taking responsibility for any of this. He stated that at the beginning. So you're wasting your time, you're wasting your energy, and you're wasting your money on this. If you want to be mad, you want to be miserable, you might as well just do it by yourself and stop engaging with these guys because they're not responsible for any of this.
Rabid activists who couldn't give a shit about storytelling or entertainment as long as your show pushes the political talking points they agree with, but actual fans of the product, the people you're supposed to be appealing to.
It's really funny because you act like fans can't have political feelings. So you're suggesting that there's an entire group of people out there literally just devoid of politics, devoid of social commentary, devoid of any of that. That all of those people exist in a bubble by themselves, and those are the one true fans. Right? That's what we're supposed to believe. That any fan of Star Wars that has a political opinion, a social opinion, anything like that, that they want to incorporate into some sort of allegory for a story about war and about fascism, that those people are not the true fans of Star Wars. The true fans of Star Wars are a bunch of people living in a bubble who apparently have no opinion on politics, no opinion on culture, no opinion about any of that. But then somehow those same fuckers living in that bubble are tired of being preached to about these opinions, things that supposedly they don't even understand because they're the true fans. They don't have any of those feelings whatsoever, but somehow they understand it in enough detail and nuance that they can spot it a mile away and they don't want to see it. We're supposed to believe that. People that are devoid of politics are the only true fans, but somehow being devoid of politics, they're able to spot politics a mile away.
Studios would actually be well advised to listen to content creators a bit more. Not one particular creator, but...
Please never listen to us. I'm begging you, studios, never listen to us. And I'm saying that as someone who believes I have good ideas, but my good ideas, I think, are in a sea of a bunch of really bad ideas, and I would rather you listen to no one. Take it from me. Listen to no one. Allow the creative people who are working on these projects to do what they are doing. Do not create art by committee. Art by committee is shit. Look at his film. Look at Critical Drinker's film. Art by committee is shit.
The broad plurality of their opinions, because believe it or not, most of them understand your audience better than you do.
False.
Because they're part of it.
False. False. Being part of a group doesn't mean that you understand the group you're a part of. The amount of people that have left this community and told me they didn't realize what kind of community they were in, the amount of people that have said that in my live streams, the amount of people I've engaged with on social media that have told me that is through the roof. That doesn't mean anything. Just because you're part of a group doesn't mean you totally understand what that group's about.
So, Headland predicted a move towards a world where the content being made about Star Wars will be more culturally impactful than actual Star Wars. For once, Leslie and I are in complete agreement, but only because Star Wars made itself culturally irrelevant by becoming a dull, unimaginative corporate product instead of the artistic vision of a passionate creative. And
So you want them to hire people with literally no sort of like cultural or political ideas that they could use in the story, but then you say that it's dull and it's boring, and how is that possible? How is that possible? You want them to bring in people, creative people, but you also want them to listen to a group think tank on the internet and a bunch of people who run podcasts, but somehow you think that's all going to come to some sort of like concession on an idea where they can make a really great Star Wars project with 1 million people being involved in it. This is crazy. This is fucking crazy.
a mouthpiece for divisive and tedious identity politics that gradually pushed away its own audience.
He's using every buzzword here. Identity politics, social justice warrior, activism, just every buzzword you can possibly fucking imagine. If y'all aren't tired of it, I don't know what to tell you. I feel like in 2026, the irrelevancy of these channels is going to be massive. I've already told you guys, they're hitting a roof. They are plateauing. They're reaching a point where people are not interested in this kind of film and TV analysis anymore. Not much analyzing actually happening. He's saying a bunch of nothing here. This is a bunch of nothing. This video is full of nothing.
Instead of being an escape route to a fantastical world of adventure and heroism in a galaxy far, far away, it instead got saddled with all the baggage, gripes, and mundane grievances of modern culture. Instead of inspiring entertainment, Star Wars became just another stick to beat people over the head with the message.
See, this is so funny to me. Look at what this is. We've looked at this before in his video. He loves to use this little graphic or whatever. What is wrong with diversity and humanity and any of the and people's rights and working together? What's wrong with this? There's nothing wrong with this. And he doesn't explain what the message is. There's a million different ideas here. How is it one self-contained packaged message? God, you guys are fucking stupid. You're so fucking stupid.
Yes, yes.
And funnily enough, that shit got real old real fast. We tried to warn you.
How many times are you going to use the same clips? Whoever his editor is, like, get some new fucking clips. You talk about boring and repetitive. Every fucking video you make has the same 4 or 5 silly clips in it. Get some new material. You're mad at them for doing the same shit, and then you're doing the same fucking thing, and your movie sucked.
Did for years, in fact. You just didn't want to listen to us. And well, now you're reaping the rewards.
I award you no points, and may God have mercy on your soul.
So were you responsible or were you not responsible? I'm trying to figure it out. You keep jumping back and forth. You're saying, well, the blame is there, but also it's because we pushed back on it, but then the blame is over there, but we're pushing back on it because we were tired of hearing it. Okay, so were you or were you not responsible?
There are some of them that I respect, and there are some of them that I think are absolutely snake oil salesmen, just opportunists.
True.
Then, of course, there are the fascists and racists.
True.
You sure about that?
Yes.
You sure about that?
Yes.
We're still doing this, are we?
Only a hit dog hollers. I have to reiterate this. Only a hit dog hollers. If you are not a fascist or a racist, she was not talking about you. You don't have to defend fascism and racism and take it personally if you are not a racist or a fascist. It's really that fucking simple. Anytime one of these channels gets mad because someone involved in the creative side of this calls out bigotry, racism, homophobia, misogyny, any of those things, and someone is like, well, actually, and pushes back against it, I got news for you. Chances are they are actually participating in it and they're trying to argue that position. That's what they're doing. Because otherwise you would go, yeah, people probably shouldn't be racist, sexist, or fascist. That's bad shit. We probably shouldn't do that. So yeah, I don't think that's a positive for our community. When you have channels like this that brush it off and well, actually that is a red flag. It's a red flag. And I'm going to start being more vigilant about that. I feel like I haven't really been as vigilant as I should be about it. I'm going to be more vigilant about that. It's a massive red flag. Any sort of well actuallys in response to any of the stuff that we know 100% was actually happening. We know this. We saw it. We're not going to be gaslit on this. We're not crazy, right? So we know this was happening. Anybody who does that is complicit in it or participating in it. One or the other. And as I always say, the material damage is the same, so I don't give a fuck if you're complicit or you're participating. The end result is the same, so fuck you for that. Let's hear what he's gonna say.
The old anyone who disagrees with me is literally Hitler argument. Like, you know that became a meme about 5 years ago.
Sure about that?
Here we go.
We're still doing this, are we? The old anyone who disagrees with me is literally Hitler argument.
That's not what she said. It's not what she said. And because you are now trying to straw man it, whatever you want to do with it, doesn't make it go away. So again, if you're either complicit or you're participating, you pick one. Those are the only two options.
Like, you know that became a meme about 5 years ago, right?
Doesn't matter if it's
such a mindlessly dismissive argument that's been used so many times. And
that's not, so you're arguing a position that she didn't have. She did not say that everyone that disagrees with me is Hitler. She didn't say that. She called out racist and fascist. You made the comparison to the meme, and now you're arguing against that comparison. That's not what she said. It's a straw man.
So many situations where it absolutely doesn't apply that it literally means nothing at this point.
Does it not apply to this situation? Funny how that works. There's so many situations that it doesn't apply. Does it apply to this situation specifically? Oh, yes, it actually does. So your point does not matter here. It doesn't mean, it's not even a factor in here when you're arguing a straw man and then dismissing something that we know actually happened.
Am I so out of touch?
Calling someone a fascist in 2025 is like a jilted ex-girlfriend telling the world you're crap in beds.
We're not going to do this. We are not going to brush away and water down the fascist stuff. We're not going to do this. Not in 2025. If you're a fucking fascist, people are going to call you a fascist. You're going to own that, or you're going to have to prove that you're not. One or the other. If you're going to defend fascism, you've got a fucking problem.
It's just something that everyone kind of tunes out now. And all of it is nothing but a deflection from the real issue here, that Leslie Headland made a bad TV show. Not just a bad TV show, but an obnoxiously, hilariously bad TV show. And
you know what I love? I love subjective arguments. I love subjective arguments. You're talking about stuff that really happened. So racism definitely occurred. Fascists were definitely arguing about it. If you want to talk about like the alt-right and white nationalism, all that, they were arguing against it. There was definitely sexism happening. All the culture stuff that's going online, definitely affecting the show. The fact that she talked about how communities are toxic, things like that, all that's really happening. But sure, let's jump back over to your subjective opinion about the show, because you're confirming the biases of the people that are watching your content. Therefore, you're just regurgitating everything that's being fed to you, and then you're eating it again. That's all this is. Your subjective take about the show is not objective reality. So what you're doing here is you're not actually arguing against any of the points that she's making. Matter of fact, you have contradicted yourself at least 2, maybe 3 times in this video.
she had no excuses for why. It wasn't down to studio interference or lack of budget and resources. She was given all the money and talent that a filmmaker could ask for, the full backing of one of the biggest studios in Hollywood, and one of the best sandboxes you could ever hope to play in.
You were arguing about some objective elements of it, and then injecting your subjective opinion about the show. I don't know why you guys listen to him. I don't know why you listen to him.
She was given a creative and financial blank check, and she still managed to fuck it up. Why? Because fundamentally she told a story that resonated with one person only, herself. She wanted
I don't want to do this. I don't want to jump in and give my subjective opinion because I feel like that's just me playing the same game. But I like the show. I know a ton of people that like the show. And because I liked it, does that change any of this? And if your answer is no, it doesn't change any of it, then congratulations, he can't argue the other side of that. Using his subjective opinion about the show to try and hammer home all of the issues that he thinks the show suffered from that are universal doesn't work. If I tell you that I like the show and I think it's great and I give you a million reasons why it's good, it's not going to make you change your mind about the show. This is why trying to argue against the objective reality of the things that she's saying versus your subjective opinion about the show isn't going to get us anywhere. It's not going to get us anywhere. We would argue all day long about that. It's pointless. It is a pointless argument. And he's got you guys all wrapped up in his own anecdotal feelings about the show.
Characters that reflected her own hang-ups and insecurities, and she got them. She wanted to push messages and themes that she personally agreed with, and she did. She wanted to give her wife a job opportunity, so she cast her as a character with zero personality and...
You're acting like filmmakers don't come in and do this anyway. Name one great filmmaker who has made a movie out there, an artistic movie that they put together, whether they wrote it or they adapted it or whatever it is they did, that did not reflect some sort of personal vision they had for the movie or the TV show. Name one. Name one. I would love to know the great filmmaker that came in and made movies that did not have their voice in it whatsoever. Whatever that is. Stylistically, atmosphere, vibe, cinematography, writing, the script, the casting, the vision, the soundtrack. Name a great filmmaker that has made a movie devoid of any sort of like element of personalization in it at all. The greatest filmmakers in the world, the greatest ones, are the ones that you know it's their movie. You know it's their movie because they have a certain style and a certain aesthetic. They have certain ways they make those films that put their stamp on it. You are arguing here that this person should come in, turn off everything creative, and churn out some sort of commodity Star Wars. You're actually arguing for the thing that you say you don't stand for, which is simply creating a Star Wars that is a churning out of the same garbage McDonald's shit over and over and over again. You don't want anything new or exciting or different. You don't want them to come in and break the status quo. You don't want them to come in and try anything. You want people to come in, shut up, have no vision, have nothing whatsoever, use AI to write a script based on all the older Star Wars stuff, and literally have nothing of any substance on screen. That's what you want. That's what you're arguing for. That's what you're asking for here.
No redeeming qualities. She was given someone else's sandbox to
The
play
same
in, and she took
clip
a big
again.
steaming dump in
The
it.
same
And
fucking
then she
clip
wonders
again.
why
The same
people
cl-
pushed
this is
back
the fourth
against
time
her.
you've used this
the
in the
Acolyte
video.
failed because it was
Fourth
made
time.
for one person and one person only, Leslie Headland. She can cope and deflect all she wants about the reception it got, but at the end of the day, all the criticism and pushback was nothing but a reflection of her own failure.
So do you think that the studios looked at what she did, the show that she made, before it ever came out and were like, oh, this is awful. This is awful. Like, we can't put this out. This is really bad. This is so bad. We're not going to spend all this money promoting it, all these things putting it together because it's so bad. She's such a bad person. She injected all of these politics into the show. She put her own vision into it. She added some culturally relevant stuff into it. This is awful. We know this right away before we even put the first episode out. It's absolutely awful. Or is it more likely that the show came out and then you guys started screaming about it, you stirred up the hornet's nest, and then the studio saw that, and that's when they made the decision? Which one of those things do you think actually happened? That the studio didn't see what the show was about? The quality of it, any of that because you're begging the studio to listen to you, like the studio should know what to do, even though you claim Disney and Lucasfilm don't know what the fuck is happening. So why would you trust any of them, anybody at the top end, when you've attacked them too? Matter of fact, that's another fucking thing. Why are you acting as if this is happening independently of the studio itself? You don't like Disney, you don't like Lucas, you don't like the Disneyfication of all these things. Why would this plea to them to listen to anything that you're saying? Why would you want them to do that when you think they're part of the problem? Why is that? Why would they even notice that? Why would they see that? How would they acknowledge that? This video is fucking stupid.
Perhaps in time she'll learn and grow from that failure, but somehow I doubt it. Anyway,
dumb fucking video. I want to reiterate, if you're someone that's a fan of Critical Drinker or any of these guys, they are feeding you feelings. They're feeding you all of this stuff. They're confirming your bias. You do not have to spend all of your time engaging with this. You can simply walk away from it. You don't have to come to my channel. You don't have to find another community. You can detach from it. This is not good for you. They're literally using you to get outrage content on YouTube trending in the algorithm so they can just continue to profit off of this. You could break away and maybe enjoy something again. These guys are not good for you. They're not good for you. And I'm not saying that's me either. I want to reiterate this. I'm not saying that I'm the answer, that you have to come over and start listening to my content or anybody else's content. I'm saying that you don't have to listen to this. This is garbage. He's a fucking liar. He's a hypocrite. He is talking out of both sides of his fucking mouth.